So, hey, everybody. I'm here today with Katya McEwen, and she is a sales mindset coach. Now, you're going to love her story. It's so fascinating and inspiring because Katya is not only she's an American and a Canadian and a Russian. she has had she's had many experiences immigrating to from one country to another, and she has had to re-educate herself. She has worked in the corporate world and been very successful there, and now she has her own business as well. So I introduce you to Katya McEwen. Katya, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely adore you and the time we spent in Toronto. Well, we've known each other for probably over 3 years online,
Yeah,
right? So through Facebook, and I always say Facebook friends are real. And we
yeah,
had an amazing opportunity to actually meet in real life, right? So in Toronto
that was
last
wonderful.
year. And it was so wonderful to spend time with you, get to know you better. It's always good to have a connections online, but when you bring them in real life, they are so much stronger, and you get to know people very quickly, right? So
Yes.
thank you for the opportunity
Oh,
to
you're so
really.
welcome. But I just know that your story is, when you told me, I was fascinated. And, it's so encouraging for so many people because you have been through so much. So if you could even just share how you came to Canada first,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
what you had to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I will give you like a Cole's Notes version, because otherwise it will be here till tomorrow or maybe more. I often joke that my story wouldn't even fit in one book. So I'll give you the Cole version here. So I actually was born in Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, in Russia region. So back then, Russia was part of the Soviet Union, which was 15 different provinces, so to state, or states, right? So whatever you want to call them. And so I was born there. When I was 7, we actually moved to Ukraine, which was still inside the big Soviet Union.
Right, right.
And when I was 25, I was leaving Ukraine when Ukraine already was a separate country.
Okay.
And so I came first to United States with my ex-husband and spent here about 8 months. He was granted the stipend, the special, fellowship or scholarship at Yale University. And this is actually where I learned how to use computers. I would go to computer lab with my 4-year-old daughter then, and she would be coloring books somewhere there at the table beside me, and I would be typing my ex-husband theses on computer. So this is how I learned myself how to use Microsoft Word. So that's how I started with that. So
Wow.
we lived in New Haven when he studied at Yale University, and it was an amazing experience because I had an opportunity to work there as well, just for a little bit, because we couldn't place my daughter in daycare. It was much more expensive than whatever I would earn with
Right,
my
right.
limited English at that time. But I did have experience to work actually at Yale University. I was working as a translator because they had the conference there, and they needed somebody to translate from Russian to English and Ukrainian to English. So I had a couple of months experience of working with them as well, which was really cool and fascinating. But the biggest part was, because I had so much time, I spent a lot of time with wives or husbands of students,
Oh,
just people just like me from all over the world, which
wow.
was very, very interesting. Yeah, we would just go in together, and our kids would play, and we would just talk. So that was the very first experience for me with English language, because it's definitely not my, native language, as you can hear. I often say that I speak Ranglish, which is Russian mixed with English, right? So, and from there, we moved to Canada. And just to make the long story short, we immigrated to Canada. We moved from States to Canada. That's how I ended up there. And a couple of years after, my marriage completely broke down. So we had a problems again when when he was at Yale University before we came and joined him with my daughter, when he was there on his own. Again, when we came, he literally just told me that I'm just bringing you here because of our daughter, but I'm in love with somebody else. So that's how I was brought to the United States. And
Thank
literally,
you very much.
yeah, it was told like 2 days after I came in, right? So, and I was in the dark. I had no idea, right? So
Wow.
because
What
it
a
took him,
shock.
yeah. So it was cool. It was great shock. Yeah. So literally, this is where our marriage kind of was already dissolving and was a lot of things happening. But I was raised by a Jewish grandmother because I'm half Jewish, and there's a little bit more to it, right? So,
Mhm.
and my Jewish grandmother raised me the way that it doesn't matter. Infidelities, it doesn't matter. Anything, it doesn't matter. The best food goes to your husband and then your kids and then you always come last. So that's just the way that we were brought up. And also the way we were brought up, you don't show your feelings. You don't you leave all of those things behind the door and you just put smile on your face and you pretend that life is beautiful.
Oh,
So
really? Wow.
so that's how it was. And for a couple of years I did try to make it work and I did try to do a lot of things, but I completely lost myself by trying doing a lot of things and really end up with a situation where I had to be treated in mental department of the hospital or whatever you want to call it, because I had a clinical depression. So a lot of
We
times
had a complete breakdown, I'm sure.
complete breakdown. Yes. So complete breakdown, because for 2.5 years I was trying to make it work and then it didn't work. And then finally he left and he had somebody else and he left for somebody else. So that was another person.
Oh my
But
God.
at that point I literally lost myself because I forgot about all my needs. I was trying to make it work in an environment with absolutely no support.
Right.
And when I'm saying no support, there was no support. Even when we were at Yale, in New Haven, when he was at Yale University, I had a lot of support from all of the students' wives and husbands. We had a really good, tight group. But when we moved to Canada, I literally had maybe a couple of people that I knew and friends I knew. And all the shock when it came was so much transition and so much things happening that I finally broke down and I had a really bad clinical depression.
I can't
And
even imagine how you lasted that long.
yeah, just listening to my grandmother voice in my head, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So for any of you guys, I know it's not business related, but if you trying to save the marriage for the sake of your kids, don't. Right? If the marriage, if you want to do it and if you both of you want to work on it, absolutely. I will never tell you to dissolve your marriage or do anything like that, but don't do it for the reason of that because we have kids, we have to stay together, because that's only going to make your life miserable. You will never be happy. And at the end of the day, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot really help anybody to grow, including your children, when you're not happy, right? So, and that was a huge lesson. Another lesson is for you, have a really great support circle. For me, I had the only person who knew what was going on is actually my best friend who was in Ukraine. I was in Canada by that time. And we didn't have the internet like we have right now, right? So that was many years ago.
So
So
nobody to talk to.
we communicated by letters. I still have her letters. But it's a snail mail. It would take 2-3 weeks for the letter to come, right? So, and sometimes we do by phone call, of course, but again, cost. At that time, I was on my own. I was on social assistance, and there's not much I could afford to call my friend all the time and talk on international distance calls.
And you had to take care of a daughter.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I had to take and when everything was happening, he was going to US to finish his PhD. And for us, he moved us in the area. And that was the biggest shock for me when I finally realized that he doesn't think about his daughter, right? So or me, forget about it. But he moved us to the area, and you live in Toronto, and I don't know if it's better now, but it's close to Parkdale, Dufferin area, where
Yes,
as
I
we
know.
were walking on a street, I would find needles on the ground.
Oh
So
no.
just to give you an idea, right? So very luckily, the teacher at the school where we studied, like where my daughter was, she pushed me because I didn't want to do it at the beginning, but she said, you have a gifted child and this school is not for her. Like, and she gave me she said, you need to put her in French immersion. She already speaks 2 languages. It will be really good for her. The problem was it wasn't in the same area. I had to move, right? So,
Oh,
and as
yeah.
much as I didn't like the area, you get comfortable and you get in things to know and everything
If
else.
you weren't from the area, so how would you know?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so we moved, and luckily she moved to the really good school. We moved to the much better area. So that changed a lot in her environment, changed a lot in my environment as well. And as we moved, I finally started getting to a completely different place in my life when I was starting seeing that there is a life, after my divorce, there is a life just for me. And there better life for my daughter as well. So at the beginning, when we immigrated, we all, as much as we say we put ourselves first, we don't. We always think about our kids first, right? So we always want them to have the best opportunities, right? So, and this is where I had this enough of enough moment, because as I was clinically depressed, I was hospitalized for, I don't remember how long right now. And then after that, they put you on a heavy antidepressants, and you've been monitored. You have to go and see them every week, every 2 weeks, depending on your progression. So, and as we moved, as I finally started to see and got out of that really crappy environment, so again, environment is so important.
Oh yeah.
I started to really coming back to myself in a senses. Enough is enough. My daughter can't live like that. And even so, I wasn't motivated for me yet at that time. That motivated me a lot. And one of the days I came to see my psychiatrist, and I said to him, well, what do I need to do to get off this medication? Because it makes me zombie. It literally makes you zombie, right?
Right.
So, and again, I'm not telling you guys, if you're in a situation like that, to quit your medication or anything like that. I'm just sharing my story. Okay. So just wanted to make sure that I address that as well. And I came to him and I said, well, can I just stop the medication? And he said, well, I don't think you're ready. And no, you can't do that, because a lot of it, and there is, with the doctors, they want to keep on medications. There is a lot of things involved in that. I truly believe the pharma is making a lot of money out of a lot of things that happening, and there is better ways, right? So to treat different illnesses, and you can heal yourself as well. But at that time, I said, okay, well, hypothetically, let's say next month I could, what would it look like? And he literally told me what he would do. He would say, well, we'll cut your dose and then cut your dose and cut your dose. And I'm like, okay, fine. Well, thank you. I know what to expect. So by that time, I only was seeing him once a month. And by the time I seen him next month, I actually got off medications myself. I didn't do it in a month. I didn't do it cold turkey, but I done it exactly what he would say. And I was like testing it. I would cut a little bit less dose and a little bit less. And I was feeling like, yeah, I'm feeling good. If not, I would go back for a couple of days, and then I go again and again and again. And slowly, within a month, I was off medication completely.
Oh, wow.
So, and I found that, yeah, and at that time, I started to feel much better. I started to actually think clearly, because I didn't have that fog anymore, because that was the biggest thing, right? So, and through a lot of stuff that I was doing, which is very interesting, that's why I'm so passionate about mindset coaching, is I used a lot of tools that I teach now my clients, and now I'm certified mindset coach, but back then I did not know, right? So back then we didn't even talk about mindset coaching, right? So it wasn't, well, it existed, but nobody talked about it in that sense. And So I use a lot of tools right now that I used back then, because your thoughts and your mind will definitely, play games with you, like I say, right? So we'll try
Yeah.
to sabotage you. So that's how, like, and after that, like, as soon as I stopped my medication, as I said, as soon as I said enough is enough, I was using those tools, mindset every day of what is that I want to feel today? How do I want to feel today? What is my next step? And slowly, I started a career in a corporate Canada. And I actually started in banking, started with TD Bank because you're from Canada, so you would know,
Yeah.
and worked there for 4 years. And after that, actually moved to RBC Bank, which is the biggest bank, largest bank in Canada. And from there, very quickly progressed to the branch manager. Really quickly, within 2 years, as soon as I started with RBC, I was a branch manager, and my last job was not only leading over 25 people, but also training and developing and mentoring them. That's where I use my coaching skills like daily, literally daily. So my biggest passion was to coach and train and develop people.
Yeah.
And that's why I love coaching. So just going to talk about how I transitioned, why coach, and why did it come in. And so I was, as I said, was the biggest bank in Canada, and really loved what I was doing. I was getting burning out because hours that we worked, I had work laptop. I would literally would go. My husband is manager as well, so he and both of us would come
So
home.
and you got married again.
Yes, I
Yes.
skipped that part. Yes, yes. Well, we've been together before we got married for 13 years, and we've been married. It's going to be 6 years this year officially. So, but we've been together. Yeah, we've been together for 19 years. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So I met my husband. Let's put it this way, and we've been together. And again, that was a huge step for me as well, because after everything that happened with my ex, I didn't trust anyone. I didn't trust men for a very, very long time. Very long time, right? So I was dating, but I always said it's never been serious. It was not serious. I wasn't looking for committed relationship or anything like that, but I had to work on it, right? So I had to work on it. And again, it's a lot of inner work, a lot of mindset work that you're going through.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, is like you worked on that as well. So you've done a lot of mindset.
Yeah.
Business, but personal and
exactly. Both. Yeah. And I know that in your group you have women. Is it women only, right? So
no,
or both?
It's both men and women.
Both.
Yeah.
So you have people who actually maybe in a corporate right now and not quite sure what they want to do, what they want to do online, they in transition, or maybe they just quit their job and they're in transition right now. I want to encourage you to really think about all of the events that you went through in your life. I have this amazing exercise that I do with my clients and in my students in the program. I call it Know Your Value. And the reason we do that, because I want you to look at it from perspective, not only your degrees, which are important, right? So not only your certificates and all of that stuff, professional things that you've done, but I want them to look at more than that. What is the life experiences, right? So for me, my life experiences, divorce, depression, all of that stuff, right? So, and other great stuff too, of course.
Right.
And you're looking at, moving and immigrating from Ukraine to Canada first, and now we're in the process of some of the stuff. And second time in US before we're going back to retire in Canada. But there is all of that experiences. People will pay you. They will invest in themselves to learn the shortcuts, I call them. Because if I knew what I know now, even going through my divorce, I can guarantee I would not end up in a clinical depression. Right? So if I knew now.
Yeah.
So if you, for example, you could be somebody who is passionate of really coaching people through divorce. So you can only imagine how valuable it is to them, right? How valuable it is for them to know that they can get through the divorce, and there is a light at the end of it, and there is life after the divorce, right? So it's extremely valuable. So if you're thinking that, well, who am I to charge people money and coach them, or whatever is the business you're doing, right? Not necessarily coaching, could be anything. Then start looking at your life experiences, great experiences and not so great experiences, because you will relate to people so much more, but you also realize how valuable it is for them and for
Yeah,
you, right? So,
that's great advice.
and it will bring your self-esteem higher, your confidence higher as well, because a lot of people don't look at those things, and it's incredible what you can do with those experiences. Yeah. Where were we? I'm like trying to go through the story, right?
So yes, from corporate, how did you get from you
good question.
excelled in corporate so much, and what happened that you became an entrepreneur?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So in corporate, I dealt with sales a lot. So sales are easy for me. I love sales. I thrive on sales. Because my belief that sales are how selling is helping, and selling is serving another person. And so I definitely had experience with sales. And as I said, I was very passionate about mentoring and developing and training my team and helping them to earn like really high bonuses in upwards of 25,000, helping them to earn biggest awards within a large company, helping them to earn free cruises and all of that stuff. So that is something where I always got, it was so rewarding to me when I could see that breakthrough in their face, like aha moments, right? So they're like, aha, and you can see like a light bulb went on, right? So I was sharing that I was getting burnout. And then there is opportunity came in when my husband could be transferred to United States here. And it was a very quick transfer. Literally, he got an offer on December 23rd, and he needed to be in here by February 9th, right? So,
yeah,
I mean, like, it's like a very quick turnaround. By that time, our daughter was finishing university. She actually finished university at that time already. She's independent on her own. So there was nothing holding us back. And we kind of talked about it. And we're like, well, you know what? It's another experience.
Yeah.
We would love to try it. It's a great experience for him, it was a great promotion. For me, at that time, I was apprehensive a little bit, but then I said, hey, I'm still young. I can find a new career. We'll figure it out, right? So, and if nothing comes up in a couple of years or anything, I don't really need to work, right? So that was the idea behind it.
Right.
So when I came here, I was left with nothing but unpacking first. That's a different story. Here's advice to you guys. If you get in movers that your company, somebody paying for the move, don't let them to unpack your things. Let them pack your things, but don't let them unpack the things.
Okay. Because you won't know where anything is.
Oh, no. What they do, they literally they open the boxes and put everything that in a box on a flat surface in your house. So that's including couch, chairs, tables, whatever it is, sometimes like in a closet, but it's not what you want there. So it's so much easier to unpack from the boxes than for me to move all of that stuff.
That seems ridiculous.
Oh, well, that's what it is. I did not know what it is, but that's another advice on a side note, right? So I was left with nothing but unpacking. Mm-hmm. Moving the stuff, from one room to another, organizing the house, and of course cleaning and all of that stuff. And let me tell you, I'm not a domestic goddess, okay? So I do not like doing those things. I really don't. I prefer that I pay somebody to come and clean my house. So that's the way I work, and I stick with it. So some people love doing it. I'm not the person who loves doing that stuff. And I say that I was given a huge gift of time at that point of life, and I was reflecting on a lot of things. At that time, I actually hired a coach, and I knew her from Canada. We've been in a Toastmasters together, so she's a coach and hypnotist, and there was certain things that I wanted to process and reflect, and I needed somebody else to help me with that. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know. Okay, this is your blind spot. If it's a blind spot, you don't know it. And you cannot see the picture if you actually in a picture frame. only another person can see from outside what's happening, right? So,
Right.
and I did hire as a coach, and experience was amazing. And I was like, so maybe that's something that I can do. And that was just a seeds, kind of few things that were in my mind. And then I met somebody as I was networking, and I met somebody who introduced me in like in multi-level marketing. And I'm still with this company right now. Don't do much professional, like I'm in business wise, but I still use the products and really believe in them. So I was introduced in multi-level marketing, and that is something that at the beginning, like you drink a Kool-Aid and you think, oh, it will be so easy. The way they, there is so much hype. They're like, yeah, you're going to be a millionaire in 2 years or maybe in 1 month or something like that. Doesn't happen, right? So it doesn't happen this way. And I loved being part of the company, but there were certain things that I did not like, that I couldn't control how I do things. I had to adhere back to the policies. I had to, follow different things and policies that somebody else has created, not myself.
Yeah.
So slowly I realized that, I would love to actually get into coaching, and I started looking at different ways how to do that. And at the same time, I was approached by one of the local banks. They were going through a big project and they needed somebody to really lead their deposit operations department. And I said, okay, sounds good. How long? Like approximately, and it was like 2 years minimum I needed to do that. I said, I can commit for 2 years and then we can go from there, right? So I helped them to do what needed to be done and worked on this project. And by the end of it, I'm done. Like I loved what I was doing, but at the same, and yes, it was fitting my expensive habits, and I love traveling. So yes, definitely it was fitting my expensive habits, but it didn't feed my soul anymore.
Right.
Anything I was doing, it was coming back to how can I actually make it work with coaching and training and developing and teaching. And in my background, which I didn't mention yet, in Ukraine, I'm actually a teacher of mathematics. So I used to teach mathematics back in high school in Ukraine. So I'm a born teacher, so I love teaching and I love coaching and training. And I was like, what can I do so that I can actually get, earn money for that, really getting money and doing what I love, right? So, and then again, I hired another coach, and that is, as you can see, it's a pattern from being for me and also for my clients, is if you want to grow, if you want to evolve, you need somebody to help you. You cannot do it on your own. You really cannot do it on your own. You rarely can do it by buying courses, because it's not giving you that. Again, you cannot see what you cannot see, right? You don't know what you don't know, and you cannot see, if you're in a picture frame, you cannot see the picture. So courses are wonderful, and it's a great start to start learning.
Yeah.
But then what's happening with a lot of newer entrepreneurs is that they get addicted to learning. And here, 2 hands, I can put my feet up as well. I was in the same spot. I love learning. I'm absolutely passionate about learning different things. But the problem was that the more you learn, the more confused you become if you don't have somebody helping you one-on-one. And also, the more you learn, you get into the habits of learning and not implementing. So for me, I always joke and I say that I have courses in my electronic library, the height of Eiffel Tower. And some of them I never opened. Right? So
yes.
You're totally addicted, right? So, and as I said, I hired a mentor, and she's mentored to like a lot of different people. She works with Grant Cardone. She is just actually this year they had 10x, Grant Cardone has a 10x. But this year they done Ilana Cardone, his wife, she done 10x ladies, and she was one of the key speakers, right? So in both. So, and she was amazing. Like that was the very first time when I actually working with somebody one-on-one, and I seen the huge difference. I seen the huge difference in my mindset. I seen the huge shifts, and I've done elite retreat with her in Bora Bora, which was an amazing, absolutely amazing experience. And from there, I just started growing and growing. And it was still while I was working. And as I said, then I decided, yeah, I'm ready. However, my initial goal was not to quit until I replace my income or double my income in a corporate. But at that point, I was at the point, like as I was saying, it wasn't feeding my soul anymore, and I
Oh,
wanted to go all in.
right.
And this is where I don't recommend you to do that unless you have a lot of savings that will last you, and
Mm-hmm.
unless you have something else in backup. So the reason I'm saying that is, as I said, I quit in October 2017, and in October last year, I went back to corporate, right? So, and I went back to, like, I love sales, so I'm back in sales. So I'm still within my
Yeah.
profession and everything else. But the reason I did that, because in 2 years, my credit cards started to accumulate. Then, you paying high interest because, again, one of it is a habit of me learning and investing in a lot of
Right.
stuff. So
Yeah.
I had to really
Professional
reevaluate that.
development.
Professional development, yes, you have to reevaluate. And a lot of times we invest so much in courses and buying things because of that, um, of the thinking that we're not good enough. I need another certification. I need another course. I just need to learn something
Imposter
else.
syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Imposter syndrome. Yeah, exactly. I'm not good enough. Imposter syndrome. And that's your mind is tricking you, because literally everything that you have is inside of you already.
Mm-hmm.
And my recommendation would be find the one-on-one coach who can help you, and find somebody who actually been through what you are going through right now,
Mm-hmm.
and really work with them, because I can guarantee that you already have everything that you need just to start or just to continue. If you're looking to attract your dream clients, if you're looking at whatever is that increasing your income and sales for your business, just find somebody who been through what you been where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Find somebody who has expertise in whatever area. Like for me, for example, people hire me for sales and sales mindset,
Yeah.
because my philosophy is 80% mindset, 10% is action, and 10% is collaboration and leveraging, right? So that's my philosophy. A
Right.
lot of times people are flipping it completely opposite. They do 80% of action, 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 only 10% or 20% of mindset. And the problem with that is that they approach a lot of things with the wrong energy. And
Mm-hmm.
people can feel the energy on another side, right? So again, if you are somebody where you want to grow, find somebody who you already followed, who you can find out a lot of, read, literally stalk them online if that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
right? So you will see their style, you will get into their free groups, see how they do, what are they doing, get to know them and
Right.
see if it resonates, right? So see if it resonates, and definitely hire somebody to help you, because
Well,
the
and I
biggest,
have to agree with you, Gotcha.
yeah,
I know that for most people that I have that have been coaching, like I'm a big proponent of, you need coaches, you need mentors, and most of the people that do that have their own coaches and mentors.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I do not hire anyone who doesn't have coach or mentor.
Yeah.
Right. So that's I always ask, so who's and
Who's coaching?
sometimes sometimes they don't like to share, and that's okay. But so what are you, I always say, what are you working on yourself? Right. So
Yeah.
what is are you working with a coach, and what are you working on for yourself? Because keep in mind that most of the people, and all of you guys here, I can guarantee 99.9% in all who's listening to that, you know what you need to do. You literally know what you need to do. The question is why you're not doing it, or
Yeah.
the question is why you're doing everything else but not what needs to be done. Right? And it's a classic self-sabotage, right?
Yeah.
So,
And we have 1,000,001 excuses.
oh, totally,
And some
totally.
of them are really good.
Yeah. And especially if you work from home, oh my God, my house is not as nice and neat. Well, not for me, because I don't really could care less. Not completely, right? So you might think like I have everything everywhere. No.
Yeah.
But it just, you'll find, oh, I need to go and unload dishes or load dishes, whatever it is. You will find your mind
Yeah.
will find millions of reasons for you not to do that is uncomfortable, right? And one of the biggest sin is what is a big rock that you need to focus on, right? So what is a big sin that you need to get out of the way? Do it first thing in the morning, and then you'll have so much more time on focusing on everything else. But
Right.
if you don't, you will find all kind of reasons not to do it. And then by the end of the night, I'm like, oh, what did I do today? I haven't done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
So
that has happened to me. Yeah.
it always happens to everyone. Yeah. So that's a little bit of my story. I know it's long, because I said
No, but
it's,
it's amazing. Like, I mean, going, immigrating to a country, finding out that your husband is not with you anymore, and then, you know, having a young daughter, going to, and then immigrating to another country. Like,
mhm.
that's really tricky. Like, you know, and taking your support system away and having to, you know, single-handedly take care of yourself and your child, like that, is amazing. And then to go, and do so well in corporate, and then find it, you know, that you want to do something on your own. That, wow. So I'm
Thank you.
so impressed.
Yeah. And another thing I want to say, we're so lucky. There are so many people who really talk badly about social media and how it is addictive, which is true. And, you know, you have to have boundaries. But a lot of times people will say, I can't look at my feed and, you know, timeline because it's so negative or anything else. Well, if your timeline is negative, that's on you, not on anybody else. Remove the people who are negative. So
Right.
that's another thing. I'm very direct. I don't sugarcoat stuff. So,
That's
you
what
know,
I love about you, Katya.
yeah, we are a problem, our own, and we are also our own solution, right? And that is the biggest thing. But the social media right now, for the people like I was in a situation like that, it's a godsend.
Yeah.
Because even so, if you don't have support, like for me, because of social media, I don't have much support in where I am. I have few acquaintances here, and I have a couple of friends, but I don't have support in regards to like-minded people. I live in a town of 7,200 people. And the
Oh, wow.
town where, yeah, and the town where if they don't know grandfather of your grandfathers, they will not do business with you. I mean, like very, very conservative town. I am Southern Kentucky, so you can imagine. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting mentality, right? So, but because of social media, I never felt more supportive because of people like Kim, because of other people that we get together, whatever way, in whatever capacity, and support each other. It's incredible. So to me, social media is amazing, right? So, and it is
Yeah.
what you want to make out of it. So I always say create the boundaries and unfollow everybody who doesn't serve you anymore. In regards, what I mean doesn't serve, like, you know, doesn't doesn't help you to move forward. So if
Right.
you seeing on your feed everything is negative, and yeah, those people probably shouldn't stay in your feed, right? So just unfollow them. So even if they
Yeah.
are family, you don't need to unfriend them, but unfollow them and don't see it. Or be more radical. For me, I don't see anything in my feed line. I actually use timelines or a timeline eradicator, where I turn on my Facebook and it's a quote. I don't see anything. I only go intentionally when I want to see somebody's feed and, like, you know, to follow up with them or just read something or go into those groups. Again, it's all about being intentional and moving forward with what serves you and
Mhm.
starting with yourself first. So I think that's what I probably want to end with is, yes, we are passionate about our kids and we love them to death. Yes, we love our families. But if you think about it, if you cannot fill your cup, you cannot pour from an empty cup,
Right.
right? So you really need to fill your cup. You really need to fill yourself first, love yourself first, and be super compassionate to yourself. So the self-compassion, somebody asked me recently, I think it was a few months ago, what was the biggest thing that propelled your business forward? And when I answered, they didn't understand. They kind of were like, well, I don't understand. And what I answered, it was really releasing self-judgment, stop beating myself up, and approaching everything with a huge self-compassion. Women specifically, men not so much, but it's not like, they're not immune from that. But women
Yes.
specifically, very critical about ourselves, about our bodies, looks, makeup, no makeup, whatever it is, but mostly guilt ridden
Yeah.
and ashamed of a lot of stuff. So if you're looking into that kind of work, I definitely will suggest to follow Brené Brown. So she talks a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
about vulnerability and shame and all of that stuff. And that one thing, and I actually started like really getting deep into that and get a lot of internal work when I hired the mindset coach with who I was working. And this is where a lot of things started to shift, like on all kind of levels. And the beauty of mindset work is that everything changes.
Yes.
Like I run annual beta course, beta program, which is free. And I run it annually. We just finished another round this year.
And I have to say, it was amazing.
Well, thank you. And one of the biggest breakthrough, and it warms my heart to read, is not about, yes, they increase their sales, they get more sales, and that's the point. But one of the biggest things that I love reading is how their personal lives are changing, how their relationships are changing, relationship with themselves first, and from there, how relationship with everybody else changes as well.
Yeah.
And that's what I always say to anyone who's starting, or maybe you already been in business for a while. Approach your business with fun and really treat everything in life as well and in business as experiment. Because that's what I call my program. It's an experiment, right? So approach it like a detective, like a scientist, but with a huge self-compassion. And I always talk to myself, right? So, and when something, once you start being aware of your thoughts, you can't turn it off. You really can't, right? So, but in the past, you would say, how dare I did that? I'm so stupid. I'm blah, 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 whatever it could be. But instead of doing that, because I can guarantee it never helped you, it's always delayed you in a way, right? So instead of that, just say, interesting. Interesting. Why am I thinking this way? Or feeling this way. A lot of times you might not notice your thoughts, but you will notice you feeling differently, right? Sad, maybe angry, because it shows up differently. Always ask yourself, why am I angry right now? What was I thinking right before I got noticed that? And then you'll start really noticing and paying attention to those thoughts. And the beauty of that is that you are not your thoughts, you're observer of your thoughts. And while you cannot control the first thought that comes in, you can certainly change your thought and address it and refute it with something different and start believing in something different and make a different choices. Pretty much it's moment by moment. Just make a choice of how you want to feel, what do you want to believe in, and how do you want your business to look like. And one of the things, it's your business, so don't listen that it has to be whatever way. Strategies don't work. They could work, but most strategies would not work exactly like they positioned. And and you might be wondering, why is that I'm following step by step, but it's not working for me? The reason they don't, because there is a breakdown somewhere. There is a breakdown. You might not believe in something. Your value might not align with the way it's supposed to be positioned. So don't be afraid to tweak it and customize it and make it your own. Because when you start, because you will create your own strategies, right? So it's always good to learn what's working, what's not for somebody else, but then they are not you. Right? So
that's great advice. That's great advice. So I'm also going to make sure that I put in the comments how to get hold of you. So is going to your website the best way to get hold of you?
The best way is actually to get hold of me on Facebook, either on my business page or my personal. My website is kind of under construction right now. So,
so you know what? I'll put a link to your Facebook business page.
Perfect. Fantastic. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much. So awesome to catch up. You're welcome.
Thank you for sharing your story with everybody. And I know that it's going to help somebody out there that really needs to hear it. And, we really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, and I just want to say, you know what, guys, I'm here. I believe in giving farm away. There are so many business owners or coaches out there who would hold something back. I actually will give everything out. And yes, it's counterintuitive. But the reason is I'm saying that is because it's impossible for you to give everything out.
Yes.
So even if we had this conversation and we're talking maybe specifically to the sales process or even sales call or anything like that, in 45 minutes, 1 hour, it's impossible to give everything away. And trust, the more you give without expectation and with really detaching yourself from those outcomes, which is again very counterintuitive, the more you will get back. The more you will get back. You might give that, you might have something and you might give to one group of people. You'll get back, not necessarily from them, but from somebody else, right? So it's the law of reciprocity and, karma and all of that stuff that will help you to propel in your business. So don't be afraid to go out there, share with people everything that you know, because even when you do, they still will not be able to implement it to the best of abilities because they're not you and they don't know little details little intricacies that will be.
And I love what you said that you can't see yourself when you're in the picture.
Yeah, you cannot see yourself when you're in the frame. Yeah, you cannot see the picture when you're in the frame. Yeah,
right. Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you, Katya.
Thank you. Nice seeing you.
See you soon. Let me know when you're up here.
Yeah, I will. Okay. Bye.
Bye.